Only in school systems, the things that continue to fail, we put more and more money. And sure, we should try to fix them. But at some point, all you're doing is throwing good money after bad. And worse than the money is the kids.
I'm Katherine Mangu-Ward for Reason TV. Joining me today is Joel Klein, the former Chancellor of the New York City Schools and the author of a new book, Lessons of Hope, How to Fix the Schools. Could you start just telling us a little bit about why you wrote the book and what's in it?
Sure, Catherine. I really wanted people who are not part of the education system to get a feel for what it's like inside the largest, most complex bureaucracy in America, the New York City public school system. 135,000 employees, 1.1 million children. Second reason I wrote the book is I am convinced that if we don't dramatically change our education system, we as a country are going to pay an enormous price for it.
So Bill DeBlasio is launching a new $150 million program to do wraparound services and try and improve failing schools. What do you think about that?
Wraparound services are always a good idea, but if in the end they don't hold schools accountable for performance, they're going to pay a big price for that, I think.
The thing you're most famous for is closing failing schools. Can you talk about sort of why you went that route as opposed to dumping more money into failing schools or somehow trying to rejigger them? Why shut the doors?
When you get a culture of failure that continues to repeat itself, at some point you need new beginnings, and we insisted on that. It made accountability real. The people in the school knew that if they kept doing the same things, that they weren't going to be able to continue to survive as a school. And we felt that sending kids to perpetual failure factories, hoping and wishing for change, is not a winning strategy. Only in school systems, the things that continue to fail, we put more and more money. And sure, we should try to fix them. But at some point, all you're doing is throwing good money after bad. And worse than the money is the kids who are consigned to a future and to a school that won't work for them.
Per pupil spending went up quite a lot during your tenure. Was the money worth it?
Yeah, because it brought better teachers to the system.
And is that where the money went, for teachers' salaries?
By and large. I mean, it went to other things as well, but 43% raise in teacher salaries directed a lot of money. Some of it went for capital improvement, some of it went to lower class size in the earlier years, but most of it went not just teacher salary, principal, assistant principal, and so forth. And again, I would rather spend the money more rationally, but attracting more committed teachers, higher performing teachers, higher prepared teachers really matters.
You got some pushback on spending some of that money on outside consultants to sort of work with the schools and the principals. Do you think those consultants were worth their weight in gold in the end, or?
Not every consultant is worth his or her weight in gold, but most of the money we used for outside consultants came from private monies we raised from charitable foundations. We raised hundreds of millions of dollars because people saw what was going on in New York. It's a real transformational city. We had the mayor there for 12 years. I was there for 8.5 years. Some work we did with consultants we tried and didn't work particularly well. But that's inevitable. But one of the things that troubles me is that if you don't try new and different things, then the school system won't change. And if you do try new and different things, not everything you do will work. Not everything in Silicon Valley turns out to be Facebook or Google. And we've got to try, and we've got to be willing to innovate, and that risks not succeeding in everything you do, and that happened to us.
Let's cut to the chase. This is a national problem.
We just heard from Jeb Bush, the opening keynote address here. Would you vote for President Jeb Bush?
I never get into politics. I worked for President Clinton. I'm a Democrat, and I just hope whoever gets elected president does the right thing for schools, because that's so critical to our nation's future.
That's a very diplomatic answer. I'll ask
8 years of chancellorship,
Yeah.
You learn a little diplomacy.
I'll try to ask you a more diplomatic question then, which is, if a hypothetical education reformer managed to win the White House, what would you want to see him do first?
I think anybody in the White House ought to really do two things. One, focus and draw national attention to this issue. America is not performing globally where we need to perform. Our kids are not performing. Right now, some 40 to 50 to 60% of our kids are graduating from high school wholly unprepared for what's ahead of them. It's not a winning game. Second thing I would like to see is the federal government use its efforts, use its money to stimulate much greater choice so that our kids get the opportunities across the board. That to me is a critical policy that will bring both competition, energy, and dynamism. Third thing, focus on innovation. And just yesterday, President Obama had a conference in the White House trying to drive innovation, which I support wholeheartedly.
Thank you very much for taking time to talk with us.
Thank you.